perpetuate and I'm going to use the word myth, that they came from the executive flight detachment. That is not true. And I've got document evidence to prove that, okay? Because the executive flight detachment shut down 10 years before the 12s, stood up easily. That was here on the airfield. So also one of the units that was the origin of the airfield, the UIC, is the 12th UIC. So I'm gonna start digging into that. So here we go. A lot of the different units that were here on the airfield. Unfortunately, I do not have the OSA patch. Sergeant Major said we'll get together and get that taken care of and added on here. So different ways it goes. The 12th Aviation Patch was under a great deal of controversy that they had, and the reason is that was the cavalry's colors. And they eventually did away, of course, Sergeant Major, you remember that patch, right? So
which one?
The one top left, not top left, below the MDW patch.
Oh, the red and white.
Red and white and blue one.
That's funny. Very
controversial patch, but they eventually did do away with it because the cavalry screamed and yelled about it, Third Transportation patch, back with the Air Operations Group before the brigade stood up. The 12th current patch, and 9/11, different 9/11 patches and different symbols. So there are various ones there that the 509th Transportation, and those are the two, the 3rd and the 509th were the origins of the airfield actually come from. So obviously, one of the four structures, similar today, of course, the OSA has changed a bit since then, but the responsibilities are, so I don't need to go into that. We operate the Pentagon Heliport. General Davidson was an engineer, not an aviator. Fort Belvoir was the headquarters of the Corps of Engineers for many years. General Davidson was in North Africa and Bangalore, India, but he contributed significantly to aviation in World War II. You've heard of PSP, precision steel planking. That metal that was on the ground that they laid down runways with very rapidly. He invented that. So to honor him, they named the airfield after him.
Where is his burial site?
He is at Arlington.
He's at Arlington.
He's at Arlington. And one of the things is he was a West Point graduate in 2015, and they call it the class that the stars fell on. 59 out of the 164 students became general officers or higher out of that class, which has not been duplicated at all even today.
Wow.
How many were it?
59.
59
out of the class?
164.
Maybe 1 star or higher?
Yes.
Made GL.
33% of them.
Yep.
Wow.
That's good.
General Davidson's father was a major in the old, after Civil War, he was the first territorial governor of Puerto Rico. And he also was in the Moro War in the Philippines. A lot of people don't know that the United States was involved in the Philippine War in the early 1900s.
Were they of Puerto Rican descent? How did he become?
They were from Arizona. He was there in the military.
Oh.
Okay. And unfortunately, he was on a horse, fell off and died. That's how he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like Patton dying in a car accident, So before there was Davidson Army Airfield, there was EB Army Airfield. EB started after World War II, or right at the end of World War II, and lasted till 1950. Let me go back. This is EB Army Airfield, the runway to the right. You can see the hangar and the team house and the PT track around it, okay? Now, EB Army Airfield was not here, okay? EB stood for Engineer Board because they supported the Corps of Engineers here on Fort Belvoir.
Where was it located geographically?
I'm going to show you, okay? That is the PSP planking that you see there on the ground that they utilized. That was used all the way up to the beginnings of the Vietnam War. And the reason that they stopped, because the downdraft of helicopters became stronger and it would lift it up. Okay, so they said, okay, we can't use this anymore.
So that's the planking that Davidson invented?
Invented, yes.
And that was actually at that airfield?
At EB Army Airfield, yes, from 45 to 50. In fact, there is a piece of the PSP planking. When I left, it's actually buried near the midfield crossing at a ditch. I saw it, and I told them that they needed to get that out. I don't know if they did.
Is it like a memorial or something
No,
there?
it's
Nothing?
just
Oh,
a
it's
piece of
there.
metal in the ground.
Odd.
So this is, one of the helicopters that they used there, and this was the fixed wing aircraft that they used there. That aircraft was called an Aero Coupe. It was the only Army aircraft that had a sliding canopy at that time. So of course you see the Corps of Engineers symbol, they supported the Corps of Engineers. And of course, Engineer Replacement Training Center in Fort Belvoir, that's an old picture of Fort Belvoir, from way back in the day.
So are those buildings still around? They look like it.
Actually, I can show you two of them.
Yeah.
I can actually show you two of them. It's where the physical security offices are, on the back side of where the reserve center is. You go down there, and those old buildings still exist. They're renovated. This was EB Army Airfield from aerial view. This was EB Army Airfield during the 70s because it was used by the engineer proving grounds at the time. This is EB Army Airfield where it is today. It's the National Geospatial Intelligence Center, just across the I-95. It's called Belvoir West, I think they call it. Okay, that's where EB Army, and you can still see part of the little PT track that exists. Everything else, of course, is gone.
So where would the airfield have been here now? Where would it be located?
Let me see if I can get this pointer to work. It would have been here, the runway would have been here,
Okay.
and this was the PT track here. Okay, and then the hangar would have been here, and the team house up in here. And, a depiction of where we are versus where EB Field was. And Davidson Army Airfield, the reason that they developed Davidson Army Airfield was because the missions with the Corps of Engineers exceeded the capabilities of EB. The engineers built runways, and Davidson was first set up to practice laying down runways and everything, okay?
For the Corps of Engineers?
For the Corps of Engineers, correct.
So they were doing more of like, I guess, landing strips.
Landing strips and stuff, yes. Now, the first hangar actually was over here, but it burned down, okay? So they built the second hangar here, which is the McNeil hangar, built as a temporary building. You love temporary buildings, right? They last forever.
What'd you call that building?
This building is
Yeah.
the McNeil hangar. I think that's Alpha Company
Yep.
of the 12th.
Yep.
Over there now?
Yeah,
The big
the
round-
big one round dome hangar right over here.
Right over here.
Yep, same.
Still exists today. Temporary
It's a
building.
temporary.
Still looks like
Now,
that.
And what year was that?
this picture was in 1955.
And here we are with that temporary building still.
Still around.
That was some great engineers, you know?
Oh,
It's
it's-
been renovated twice.
Yeah. So it's been destroyed once before, but
Yeah.
not the structure to
Not the
it.
structure, but
Right,
it-
but everything inside.
Yeah.
What, a fire or something?
A fire suppression
Fire
system
Oh,
suppression.
yeah.
destroyed
I've got
everything.
pictures of the foam that was
Oh, my
melting.
That happened in Minnesota.
It happened in
Quite
our
recently.
hangar too.
Yeah.
But-
Where?
Here, our hangar.
Oh, really?
It happened in Andrews, I think.
Yep,
Couple times at Deco.
yep.
It's over here,
Yeah.
everywhere.
So the fire department went, what'd you do? We don't know.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dale, but so the office spaces that they have now that are attached to it weren't actually there at that time. So
No.
like a lot of their office spaces were
Added on.
within the hangar even, right? And so that's why it was such a problem when that went off. Everybody's offices were gone.
Gone, yeah. So, The 509th and the 3rd Transportation Companies were the first companies, aviation companies, but at that time they were not aviation companies. They were amphibious assault units in Camp Cook, California. This is 1 April 1941, okay? That's where they originated at, so prior to World War II. During World War II, they were deployed to Bastogne. They were deployed to Italy as amphibious assault units, okay? So this history in either the 509th or the 3rd Transportation is Joe DiMaggio in either the 509th or 3rd Transportation Company. Joe DiMaggio during that time was a famous baseball player years later and married Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe has a connection to this airfield, not through Joe DiMaggio, okay? That's part of the executive flight detachment thing, okay? So where is Camp Cook, California? Camp Cook still exists, okay? But it's called Vandenberg Air Force Base, okay? There is a memorial at Vandenberg Air Force Base that is dedicated to Camp Cook on the ground there. So the 509th and Transportation, they stood up. We're at Normandy, Rhineland, Ardennes, Battle of the Bulge, and all of those as amphibious assault units. Now you see General Gavin here. General Gavin was known as Jumping Jack Gavin, okay? That's what Gavin Road is named after, where the 12th is, okay? It's named after him, all right? Because the 509th and 3rd Transportation Company served under him. So then they were transferred to Okinawa and deactivated in 48, okay? As amphibious assault units. They were reactivated as aviation units in 1950 and fought at these campaigns during the Korean War, okay? So these patches that are here, you see the 3rd and the 509th, during World War II and the Korean War, and even in some instances today, the Disney Corporation designed nose art for aircraft. The Disney Corporation designed these patches for the 3rd and the 509th Transportation Companies. I've got documentation from Disney about that very thing. Okay, I contacted them and they went, bless you. They said, yes, absolutely. So after the Korean War, they were transferred to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Okay, there's the patches designed by Disney. They are depicting the flying banana helicopter there.
I was wondering why
to depict with the docks.
Yeah, because they had dual rudder.
Now we have 2 hangars on the airfield that are named after members of the 509th and 3rd Transportation, Miller and Stone Hangar. This individual was part of the.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for coming. Part of the 509th, his name was Warrant Officer 1 Simmons. Simmons Army Airfield at Fort Bragg is named after him. Okay. 509th was part of an operation called Flashburn. They tested the first nuclear atomic weapons usage with 6,000 soldiers and airmen that participated in it. So the 509th is very important as far as that goes. This is the 509th Transportation, and they're leaving now Fort Bragg, coming to Davidson Army Airfield, Fort Belvoir. This is the record that I got from the archives of their campaigns and different locations where they were, who they were under, all of that. This is the 509ths here. And you can see, I don't know if you can see too well, they were at Fort Belvoir here.
16 May.
55. So, the 509th and 3rd Transportation conducted multiple rescue operations from the airfield here. The airfield had actually set up a civil rescue operations here. There are multiple over 10-year period, all the way up into the 70s, that this airfield conducted civil rescue operations. And the reason that they did that is the civilian municipalities had no capability of doing that.
And we never did that? Because Dom Ops is a big mission of ours now,
for
National Guard.
for National Guard,
Yeah,
but
including aviation.
including aviation.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of that. So if that continues, again, another one of my holes. So that mission technically, in that sense, continues on. Okay,
But it sounds like these guys started it.
they started it. They did
Interesting.
way
That's
back in the day.
fantastic.
Okay, there are.
Passionate dogs.
There are multiple missions of snowstorms. They went all the way up to New Jersey. They went all the way down to North Carolina. A lot of snowstorms, floods, natural disasters, and everything that they responded to. I've just got lists and lists and lists of them. And the brigade commander, I briefed the brigade commander and the XO on this a couple of months ago because they were doing some justification work. Okay. So that was one of the original signs of the airfield. So in about 1957, the Secretary of Defense, or the Secretary of State, excuse me, Dulles, whom Dulles Airport happens to be named after, International Airport, come up with an idea. He says, I want to test to see who can get to Camp David first. I want to fly and I want somebody to drive it. And that's the driving route right there. Of course, I-270 wasn't built at that time. So they ran the test, and of course, the helicopters won.
Of course.
The mission of Davidson Army Airfield now changes. Boom.
Because of that.
Because of that.
Interesting.
It's no longer part of the Corps of Engineers.
That's not a valid trial, though. The helicopter's gonna beat the car.
You know that there's had to be some type of lobbyist in that room.
But the mission changes of the airfield instantly. It says, okay, you're no longer in the Corps of Engineers. We're going to put you under the Military District of Washington, and you're going to start doing the VIP flights, and you're going to continue to do the rescue operations.
What year was that? When that
57.
So, Mr. Dell, so MDW was always there in terms of Military District of Washington?
Yeah, it's
Has
been
it
there
always been labeled that?
Since I've got a history piece
Okay.
on that. I'll have to look it up on my
Okay.
computer here. There's a breakdown of all the MDW's missions and actions because Davidson Field is involved in that as well. But it's been there since World War II at least. At least.
So 1957, it moves from the Corps of Engineers to aviation,
To MDW.
or to MDW.
Yeah, moves to MDW.
When did they start conducting the rescue operations?
55.
55.
They started conducting the rescue operations as soon as the 3rd and the 501 Transportation got here. You know, municipalities would say, we need help, there's assets over here, give us help. And they began doing that. So they developed a rescue team, helicopters and medics and members and stuff like that. So that was the bread and butter of the airfield. The VIP operations was just kind of eyewash, you know, in that sense, because Davidson wasn't well known. I was in the Army for 22 years. I didn't even know about Davidson Army Airfield.
I was in aviation for probably 18 before I found out of that.
Kind of like, where? You know, it's always kept the low profile. But there is one movie that actually mentions Fort Belvoir. And the movie was in 1957. And it's an old black and white movie, and it's called, oh geez, don't get crazy on me. It's a science fiction. Okay. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Belvoir is mentioned in that movie. It's the only time it's ever
In
been
what
mentioned.
in what context? Is
In the
it mentioned?
context when they had the alien ship on the lawn, they said, we need engineers from Fort Belvoir to come and cut this open.
Okay, what is the name of it?
The day the
The
earth.
Day the Earth Stood Still. Just a short mention in it, and the engineers come out and they're using torches and everything, and they go, we can't get into it, you know, and stuff like that. But there was a remake of that movie with Keanu Reeves, and it was terrible. but the original is classic, you know. It began the real good science fiction. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So the airfield begins to grow because of under MDW.
So
This was
now they have a real runway there.
Not really.
Oh,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
So this was the original force structure. I found slides, original slides with this. So we had Aviation Command, the rotary wing section, which was the 509th 3rd Transportation, and 153rd Maintenance Detachment. We had the fixed wing, which had the L-23 Beechcraft aircraft, the 561st MP Company on the airfield, HHC, and then the Carlson Troop Medical Clinic. The Carlson Troop Medical Clinic is now the 12th Aviation Battalion headquarters. That's why when you walk in, you've got all these big rooms. That's the sitting room. It's the original sitting room that you go into. So that was the Troop Medical Clinic there. So, Britain Road here, right here, is named after one of the commanders of the airfield. And he was a World War II infantry officer, served in the Battle of Corregidor in the Philippines, and was the commander of the airfield here. When he became commander of the airfield back then, he was already a full colonel, and they said, well, you're an infantry officer. Aviation wasn't a branch, of course. Aviation didn't become a branch until the 80s, you know. So they would put different officers in command, and they would send them down to Fort Rucker or Fort place called Walters in Texas, and give them a.
Was that where the wasps were?
Yeah.
Sweetwater, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They would give them a gentleman's course, you know, with no real intention of flying, but they would say, oh, you're an aviator, you know.
Here's your wings.
Here's your wings, that sort of thing. While he was at school, and this story is from his son. I've talked to his son on this. He got sick, okay? He came back and was going to the clinic, but he's an old infantry officer, you know, buck it up, you know, tough it out, and that sort of thing. And one morning he woke up and he couldn't stop coughing and sneezing and an extreme severe headache. Well, his son drove him to the dispensary and they evacuated him to Walter Reed.
Oh, now we're in medevac.
And now we're medevacs, even for our own people, okay? And he died at Walter Reed. The sinus infection that he had penetrated the brain barrier, and he died. And they named the road after him. This is the dedication ceremony. They named it after him, unfortunately. During the Pacific War, he was initially stationed in Australia for a while, preparing to deploy. And you know, as they wrote letters and things like that to their families, they were not allowed to say where they were. But this is from his son. He told me that his dad would buy stuffed animals for them and send it, and they would be kangaroos, little stuffed kangaroos. And on the kangaroo would be a map of Australia. And then he would sew a star where he was located at.
That's clever.
Now, all his letters are in a book that his wife wrote called Life of a Paratrooper, okay? So it's a one-sided conversation of all of his letters to his family. I've got that book, actually. It's sad. This is what it really is. So, another operation. A B-52 carrying 2 nuclear weapons crashes in the Catoctin Mountains in Maryland. Davidson, which was known at that time as DUSA, was tasked to conduct recovery operations.
What does DUSA stand for?
Davidson U.S. Army Airfield.
Oh my. I'm glad they changed that.
One of the airfield managers actually said, we're not using that anymore. We're tired of it. Jay Stotsky was the one that did that. But if you go over on Fort Belvoir and say Doosa, they know what you're
They
talking
know
about.
that.
Really?
What, and it was DUSA until when?
Till about 2005. It was used till about 2005. So the airfield was then tasked to conduct rescue operations up in the Catoctin Mountains in western Maryland. And they recovered the nuclear weapons, and they recovered 2 of the 5 crew members in that. So again, more rescue operations, larger scale rescue operations. Really, wrong button. So we were also outwardly known as the VIP Gateway. And these are the flying bananas that were used at the time, okay? This is on the airfield here. But, you know, then the Huey comes along and, you know, in the middle 1960s, because Davidson was not a tactical unit, and as today, we get the leftover equipment, you know. We don't get the primary equipment because that's for the tactical.
Right, that goes to
Okay, goes to the tactical.
operating force.
So the Hueys came later here, okay, about 67, 68, in that time frame. So the old flying bananas have been around. And there's, of course, the hangar. Wasn't named at that time, the temporary hangar. And a aerial view. Those are Hueys there. And these are the fixed wing aircraft, the airfield had. And they separated the fixed wing and the rotary aircraft on this side and on that side of the runway. So these are all the rotary wing, and these are all the fixed wing aircraft here. This hangar here was the presidential hangar here, which night vision folks have that now.
What year was this taken?
This is a 70s-ish picture. I don't know exactly when. A lot of the photographs that I have and stuff are not dated on the back of them.
So the checker hangar, what is that building now? Is that still?
That's the temporary hangar.
So McNeil.
So that's Alpha.
Yes, that's Alpha Company of the 12. That's the McNeil hangar.
Mhm.
And of course, Delta Company hangar.
Yeah.
I don't know when this building was built specifically. So we go where the emergencies go. Again, more rescue operations, helicopters and fixed wing. First promotion for an aviator to CW4 was right here at Davidson Army Airfield. It was part of the 3rd Transportation Company. That's one of the signs. This was the mission. I have yet to discover what CRPF is.
I was just wondering.
I do not know what that is. But I found out what this is. Have you ever heard of the USS Sequoia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you know, don't give it away.
No.
No?
I've been on it.
Presidential yacht.
Yeah, they ain't inviting me, sir.
So when
Interesting.
the presidential yacht was in the Potomac River, Davidson Army Airfield was put on emergency standby to conduct rescue operations as needed.
As needed, in case.
As needed, just in case. And of course, the different presidents at the time with the USS Sequoia. Then the force structure begins to change with the Executive Flight Detachment coming on, and the 509th and the 3rd Transportation Companies merged together. The MP Company, the fixed wing, still exists. Carlson still exists at this time. This is 57 through 2006, or 1996. It was the Executive Flight Detachment. 76, I can't even read.
So, Mr. Dale, so the Florida there, is that a National Guard unit, or that one that says Florida Det under the Executive Flight?
Yes, they had a detachment. That was a training site down there where they taught the pilots how to fly the Sea Kings. Was down there. And it actually still exists down there for the Marine Corps as well.
Where in Florida?
It's at an Air Force base down there, I just can't remember, it's near Tampa.
So McDill?
McDill?
McDill,
Mhm.
yes, it's exactly right, McDill. And Tipton Army Airfield, which is now Tipton Municipal
Mhm.
Airport, was there. In fact, David Arroyo, who's the ATC chief, actually served at Tipton Army
Oh,
Airfield.
really?
Yes, he actually served there at Fort Meade. But it was not part of the airfield structure, it was a separate unit itself, okay? So this is one of the original slides that I found on 35 millimeter. So it, a little hard to read in some instances, but it's got the full structure of the command.
Yeah, I remember when we used to have those charts everywhere.
Now also, the building that your husband
Mm-hmm,
is in
mm-hmm.
used to be the simulator.
Oh.
Yep. I knew that.
It used to be the simulator.
Huey
Yep,
Simulator.
it was a Huey simulator. If you go into the back rooms, you still see a lot of the infrastructure
He
for
doesn't
them.
let me come in the building. I've never, I've never come over there. No.
Well, the ATC maintenance section was over there for a number of years until they got kicked out a couple, like 8-10 months ago,
Mm.
to accommodate the medical.
The medical, yeah, okay, I remember that piece.
So,
Mhm.
but when I retired, we were still in that
You're
building.
still there?
Yeah, but that big gym in there now,
Mhm.
that was the simulator room.
Oh, okay.
That was the simulator room. We had 2 Huey simulators in there.
Mm.
And now they've got the simulators behind you guys. It was run by a contractor.
Yes.
Ooh, big problem there.
Right.
Big problem there, you know, so. And of course, things begin to evolve. The MP company goes away in '83 and gives the force protection mission to Fort Belvoir proper,
Mm.
okay? And they do a real bang up job, don't they? Always had trouble with that, you know? So, CASA, that's the mission name, CASA. This is the key piece that stands OSA up, okay? CASO is the Consolidated Army Aviation Support Office. During the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s, before the aviation branch stood up, fixed wing and helicopter aircraft were assigned directly to units, okay?
Mhm.
They were not a separate unit itself. So, comm commanders, force comm commanders, signal commands, you know, the different command agencies throughout the Army had their own aircraft.
Oh, I love that today.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and they abused the day.
Right.
That's why they don't have them today.
That's why CASA was stood up, because they started getting whistleblowers on that. So they did an audit, and they discovered that there was abuse going on.
Mm.
They found that the force comm commander had actually taken his family on vacation.
Okay.
You can't do that.
Mm.
That's a no-go. So they said, we're gonna centralize this, okay? And because of proximity and, you know, command and everything, they said, we're gonna do it here. And that's where OSACOM gets that mission from, is because of abuse.
When was OSAA, when do we have an actual date of that occurred?
Agency.
The castle stood up in 1987.
We don't have a day or a month?
Not a
Just
day
a
or month,
year.
just a year.
Mr. Dale, what did you say CASO meant again?
It stands for Consolidated Army Aviation Support Office.
There's not 2 A's, but there's 2 S's.
There's 2 X.
Consolidated,
Consolidated Army Aviation Support Office. CAASO.
Oh,
That's the key piece right there. So they said, okay, we're gonna stand this up, okay? Still active duty,
Mhm.
okay? Of course, they didn't go to the Guard until 95, you know.
But OSA then, you have on top of CASO,
That was their primary mission. So that's why they developed all the regional flight detachments within the different locations, Belvoir, Alaska, Hood, Lewis, so that they could manage that aircraft, so they wouldn't have to fly it from here all the way out to Arizona.
But there was more than that, there was Hawaii, there was like 15 originally.
Okay, I'm unaware of that,
Yeah.
that's, Mr. Tilley is the one that shared that with me.
Yeah, so no, there was actually 12 to 15 and there was several closures over time,
Right.
cause, you
It's
ever
in one of
seen
those books.
Jimmy Williams?
Okay,
He served in the Hawaii one,
okay, okay.
so,
I'll easily add that.
yeah, so we need to get the list
Yeah,
of
it's in this book, I think it might be that one. You
so-
don't have to move it out.
So, yeah, that was what, over time, they restructured and,
Oh, first time you can replace it with this.
I just know, I remember specifically Hawaii being,
One of them.
yeah.
Okay,
But this was the construct, when I came into the organization, those are the flight centers we had.
right,
But prior to that, we had another handful
Another handful.
on top of those ones.
right. So yes, please, if you've got something on that, take a picture, add that to it. Now, I've discovered that it went Guard in 92, but it didn't get fully integrated until 95. The proposal was to go to Guard in 92.
And are you looking for a photo? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, and it was an article that wrote them all out too,
But see, like,
the location.
when they stood this up,
Right. Yeah, they're wearing the, OSA.
Leavenworth,
Yeah.
Huachuca,
Oh,
Fort
okay,
Sill,
okay.
Carson,
Awesome.
Mathieu, Hood, they're all having the OSA patch
Nice,
right here.
that's awesome,
So they had all of those, and here's USAPAT,
right.
in that ceremony, but yeah, there was, I think we were
Yeah.
close to 15.
It says, yeah, it says here, on this article by Mr. Christensen, OSA command made subordinate, we know that Army OSA fixed wing aircraft and components under centralized command and control scheduling operations and maintenance. Active Army fixed wing aircraft are now based at 15 nationwide detachments with regional headquarters at Fort Belvoir, Fort McPherson, Georgia, Fort Hood, Texas. The total number of active Army and Reserve and National Guard locations where fixed wing aircraft are based has been reduced from 130 to 70.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Great.
there was one that had a list of all of them.
I think I got a picture of that, if not, I'll get a picture of that and edit the slide, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's
Absolutely.
definitely 15 regional flight centers,
Yeah.
of which Hawaii was one of them, I
One of
know,
them.
yeah.
So, but did Hawaii evolve over to USAPAT?
I think so,
Yeah.
because I think they were flying further, right? So
Right.
they were, I think the Gulfstream was out there at one point,
Right,
yeah.
'cause I know the Gulfstreams were all, USAPAT's origin comes from this as well.
Right.
I know that, yeah. Yeah, thank you for that, I will definitely, like I said, there are holes. Okay, so then the rotary wing becomes 12th Aviation Battalion, again, stood up proposal 92, went full, active in 95.
So I guess I'm trying to differentiate between DAC and OSA, or are they
Right.
one and the same?
They, at one time, the airfield was run by OSA, because it was active duty.
But it was referred to as the Operational Support Airlift Agency at the
Agency.
time?
Oh, here it is. This is agency on here, and it has it in there, the history.
And if I've got something wrong, I will easily correct it too.
But it had all the,
This is one of them.
yeah, all the OSACOM aircraft, C-12, C-26, C-23, C-20, C-21.
Right,
Um,
yeah, I got a picture of that.
FWATs.
Oh, here it is.
So it essentially went from CASO to OSACOM,
Well, CASO was a function, that was a
Okay.
mission
the
name,
mission name,
yeah,
and then from OSACOM to OSA
OSA.
agency. And it's just because they were restructuring?
It restructured it down from a 06 level.
Oh, okay.
Down to an 05 level.
And what year was this? 98, 85?
This was in the 90s,
Stood up 92.
92.
Okay.
The proposals stand up, you know, they stand something up and then they don't make it official for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Typical Army, we want to investigate the funding on this. It's all about funding.
They even had a flight attachment at MacDill. They thought
Yeah.
this listed there, like down
Yeah,
there.
I'll get a picture of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were all over the place. 'Cause
Yeah.
Abuse was
That's
rampant.
right.
Abuse,
Abuse was rampant. Abuse was rampant. So they said, we gotta fix this, so we're wasting money and stuff. Okay, so then the group stands up, okay, and the OSACOM is not part of the airfield, it's under the National Guard Agency. They stood the group up in 2005. Headquarters for the group was at Fort McNair. And I wish they'd have stayed there because OSACOM owned the top floor of the base operations building.
We sure did. And we were a brigade at that time.
Yes, you were a brigade at that time. Sure did.
I worked in there as the XO.
Oh, okay.
So I was the XO for OSA, I was the last XO for OSA as an agency under now General Ring, but Colonel Ring as the
Right.
last 06 commander, and we were in that building.
In that building,
Yeah.
absolutely. And this was more of the operational building, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the 12th standing up and then going full official, and then they retired Echo Company in 2005, the 12th, because the Airfield Division went up underneath the brigade headquarters, and 9/11 engineers or the MDW engineers redesignated 9/11 engineers after 9/11. You know, because they did rescue operations at the Pentagon.
So we still had a brigade of engineers
No, a
with us?
company.
A company of engineers,
company
and then
engineer.
we just renamed them 9/11 after 9/11.
Well, the engineers actually worked directly for MDW at that time, okay? At 9/11, they brought them under the 12th
Mm.
so that they could deploy them via helicopter as needed.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Huh.
9/11 being a, you know, absolute nightmare and everything, the trucks getting to the Pentagon took them 12 hours to get there because of the traffic and the congestion and everything.
Shoot, that's a snowy day.
Rowdy.
Rowdy.
So, you know,
Dang.
helicopters bringing in the rescue soldiers and everything, they said, this is a great idea, let's do this. And so they moved them underneath the 12th and then redesignated them after 9/11 to the 9/11 engineers and stuff, so.
How did they pack, and you might not know this, but how did they pack their gear?
Well,
Was it sling loaded? Was it?
They couldn't sling load up there at the Pentagon for some reason. They just carried backpacks in. and-
Okay,
and conducted
interesting.
the simple rescue operations until the rescue trucks actually arrived with heavy equipment and
Gotcha.
stuff. So, yeah, it was, I've got some pictures of that and it's a mess.
I equate that to something like a medevac,
Right,
lack of better term, like the paramedic, I just lost the 98 whiskey, 68 whiskey,
Yeah, right.
that's in the back, and he comes in with his pack. So I'm just equating it to that.
sure.
I didn't realize we flew them. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
68 whiskey.
I know you
And
know
that's,
what it is.
that's the
though.
primary reason. And there had been several initiatives to move the 9/11 engineer company to the airfield.
Mm.
There just wasn't space.
So they're not here now?
No, they're
Still?
not here. They're still headquartered over, the company headquarters is still over on Main Post.
But they're building that truck facility for them, correct? Isn't
Yes.
that- Yes,
Yes,
that's still,
unoccupied.
well, they have to figure out how to secure it because it's
Yeah.
not,
It's-
it's open,
Open,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a whole nother dilemma.
That's a whole nother dilemma. There have been so many different proposals on how to reorganize and rebuild the airfield here. It gets lost, things get lost, like the super hangar project.
Mhm.
Well, there was a project at one time to move everything to that side of Britton Road.
I think that's the master plan, the Davidson and Army master plan. That was,
It'll never get,
It'll never happen.
it'll never get accomplished, you know? Cause that community next door here, and the Newington community screams very loud. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see
well, I know that the
noise
noise complaints.
complaints. Yeah, constant.
That's a
noise.
continuous, like, yeah.
They knew that's what's frustrating is
Once
this
they
place
get
has
them
been
there.
here way longer than they have. They knew what they were moving into. That's what's crazy. Anyway.
Well, I had been to, cause I served as the Airfield Division Chief for a short period of time, for about 3 months. And, I'd been to some of the noise abatement meetings and stuff. And there's only one guy complaining from Newington.
No, it's only,
It's the same guy.
but that's all you need.
Yeah.
It's the same guy all the time, you know, so, current force structure, of course.
So when did it become the tab?
It became the tab,
That's after the group.
right, the group, and then it became tab in, 15
2016.
January 2016. So it became a brigade level, under Colonel, now General Brown.
So they took it from an 06 with OSACOM,
And brought it
then
down.
it brought it down with OSA
Yeah,
agency, then they brought it up to general, you said?
no,
Or back to an 06?
yes, well, the group was an 06 position.
Mhm.
The group, commander.
Oh, okay.
At
it was an
McNair.
06.
The AAOD.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
So I-
building is still there, I'm sorry.
No,
That when I went up there last, that building did say a air operations group on there on McNair.
really.
Yeah, but
They
again,
were,
that was 6
they were
years ago.
they were renovating that building, it was beautiful, it was a
Okay.
historic building that they
So they may have changed
for the
it, yeah.
headquarters, no, but and then this happened and, Brown decided they are moving
Oh, okay.
down here, and he occupied, he took our.
Yep, run them out.
Hospital.
And we got bumped over here, but I don't know if those dates are accurate. I was under the impression it was October 2015 is when it was effect that we became OSA activity and fell under the Army Aviation Brigade, so I don't know where the
Okay.
16 came from.
Was it something like it wasn't appropriated until, like it
Well, but
was?
look at the where it says OSA 13 October 2015.
Yeah,
So I'm tracking that is for October,
right,
is from things that I've read, and that I thought was in alignment with when we fell under brigade, so that should have been, like, they were tab when we became activity, like,
Right.
that's how we went from agency to activity to under tab, so I don't know, those
Were
dates
they?
should match up.
Well,
Because I remember they didn't know their name, so initially, that might not be, we may have, been, because remember at first, they were not gonna be referred to as the tab.
right.
It was gonna be something else, and I think at one point they were asking people, what do you think we should be named, or it was like
Well, I mean, but we merged under what AAOG to be determined
Yes.
Right.
group.
Well, I got the transfer orders.
Yeah, but it was,
Yeah.
I thought it was for October, that was what I was tracking, that we became an activity and fell under the tab, or the group that would then become the tab on 4 October,
Okay.
2015, that's what I'm
Do we
told.
have an
I'll-
extra
you
week
have
for
the
planning now?
orders. I'll look at the orders, we'll bring the orders up.
Yeah.
on-
Very good.
On thing here.
That's good, I mean, that's good, but I remember initially they weren't gonna call it the tab,
No.
it sounded weird.
Well, people were like, oh, it's like the tab, like
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
were making jokes, like they're gonna get a tab to put on above their
Right.
shoulder and be like, we're the tab of the tab.
Or the tab soda pop.
Yeah,
you know.
like,
Yeah, well, I don't know who made that ultimate decision, but I'm sure Colonel Brown had a lot to do with that, you
Oh,
know.
did he?
And that man was so hard to read. He had the most stone face. Do you remember?
I don't remember
He
what he
was
looked like.
hard to read.
I don't
But he
remember.
shaved his head.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
remember that.
so do you remember when this all happened? Colonel Brown, whoever in PAO or whoever put it out, they did a whole, like, it was like a rebranding / campaign of, you know, the Army Aviation Brigade. And unfortunately OSA, because we were just National Guard, we were still like, they were still trying to figure out integration with us. But they highlight each of the units, and it has each of the unit commanders like talking, and it shows like, you know, video and photos of, you know, what
No,
each
for the
section, it's
OSA.
very informative. The, brigade still uses it when they do the, like, they're looking for the command match 1-to-1, when, you know, there's officers who are interested, and they link that still, they still use that, and it has, you know, General Brown, Colonel Brown at the time, talking about the Army Aviation Brigade. I've gotta go find it, but if you've never seen that, have you seen what I'm referring to?
I've not seen the one that you're referring to, but there is one out there with the history, and I'm actually in that one.
You're in that one?
I'm in that one. You call it, they refer to it as responders tab, and it'll come up, and Mr. McCollum is actually on there.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see him first. I don't know if you remember him.
I do. Cause people used to always, my last name and his last name, and obviously no relation, but.
Obviously, yeah. Yeah, he put a lawsuit against me, the brigade commander, and the safety officer.
Really, for what?
Yeah. For me, it was, you know, talking bad about him and stuff like that.
Lawsuit, like defamation of
Yes,
character?
defamation of character lawsuit against me and, John
Corey.
Redmond, the safety, yes.
Corey McCollum?
Corey McCollum.
Really?
Yes, and he filed a
Oh, I
lawsuit.
know Mr. McCollum.
Yeah.
Did he pass away?
No,
Oh, he was drinking or something. right?
oh, he had
Something like that.
multiple problems,
Okay.
okay?
There's something, I forget the scandal, there was something with him that happened.
Well, he assaulted people, he was misusing government property, he was, stealing funds,
Is it this?
multiple reasons. And Colonel Atkins is the one that ultimately. But he filed a lawsuit against Colonel Atkins for wrongful termination. Well,
Oh, it was probably.
he filed it in, Prince William County Court, okay? He was unaware, and for some reason, his lawyer didn't tell him that when you file a lawsuit against an Army officer, you don't
The
file
whole
it against
Army.
it, you file against the entire Army.
You're gonna lose, buddy.
So they moved it from county court to federal court in Fairfax, okay? And his lawyer went, oh, we're going to go hire money and stuff like that. Well, the case on all three of us was ultimately dismissed, okay? Because on mine, the deputy commander asked me to write, and that's when I was the division chief, asked me to write a morale statement on the airfield, what the status of the morale is. And I wrote it, it was, you know, not good because of actions that Mr. McCollum had done, against the weather people,
Yeah.
against, Mr. Redmond, he physically assaulted Mr. Redmond, he filed charges against him. Drinking on duty, misappropriation, you know, all these things.
Yeah.
And the thing that I wrote in, it's my opinion, and that's what the saving grace on it is, because I can have all opinions on
Right.
a lot, you know. But, for Redmond went to court and got a restraining order against him for 2 years, you know. And then he had to go to,
I'm
McCollum had
just
to go to
looking
rehab.
pictures of
And
what I want.
he went down south somewhere for rehab for his alcohol, I think.
Cause I have
And
three, I think, little
They
things.
terminated him in the middle of his rehab and everything, so, then I became the division chief again for a little while. But, you know, he was a very smart man, knew his business and everything, he just couldn't control his communication, actions, screamed and yelled a lot,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, so
not
October
professional,
2nd,
screamed and yelled at Colonel Atkins,
when National
you know,
Guard.
and Colonel Atkins, okay, I can't deal with this, you
Yeah.
know, this is enough. You know, what's the steps that we gotta take? And it took him about 6 months to terminate.
Yeah.
You know, But,
Yep, I remember Corey.
yeah, Colonel Ferris started the process. I was in a meeting with him and Colonel Ferris one time, and oh my gosh. You know, I'd never seen him act like that before, and I just kind of shrunk into the chair.
Yeah.
Cause him and Colonel Ferris are going strong at it, you know.
Yeah.
And Colonel Ferris says, can't you just do what I asked you to do? It was simple as that, and it was scream. The thing that Corey tried to constantly do was apply Air Force standards to Army installations and locations. You can't do that. The Army takes many more risks than the Air Force and the Navy does, okay? He couldn't understand that, he couldn't grasp that idea. So, I mean,
I did that when I was a young.
I'm reading it
you
right
can't
here.
do this, you can't do this, you can't do this,
Yeah,
no,
they-
no.
Hang the clothes up on
Constantly.
Yeah.
And
Versus
we
They
were
nicely,
aircraft.
they
hundreds of
nicely
risk assessments
corrected
and
me. It was.
to show.
What? I had to look it
Okay,
up.
what's the risk level, what are we
And I
doing,
think I had
you
been a
know,
papa for
Right.
couldn't
for quite a
grasp
while, like
that
embarrassingly
idea.
a long time.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that was
Air
taught.
Force.
So you're taught.
So,
I was taught it.
and then he went to BA high school ROTC.
So
instructor.
operational support airlift.
That's the last.
So OSA com.
Maryland.
Wonder how he's doing with
I
that.
don't know, unfortunately.
We
So-
don't need him at the reunion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
who?
Corey?
Corey McCullum.
Oh, no.
No.
It's certain people I don't even think I will even put on the list or even bring up to you, ma'am, to invite. I would make that decision
Well,
without you even know.
James Boyd would kind of
Yeah.
watch that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't technically part of us, so it doesn't matter.
No.
He won't be invited, but.
Yeah, it's unfortunate,
I'm gonna use the restroom really quick, just for a quick break. Is everybody okay with that? It's noon?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm just gonna, we can meet back in 5 minutes. How much time do we have?
Whenever,
Okay,
whenever.
okay.
I got a break. For me, y'all can keep going, but 12:45, I have a meeting with a soldier at 1300.
Gonna put your face on.
Yeah, just a little.
Gotta put your face on.
A little.
Oh, I'm not the soldier, am I? I
No,
just
you're
don't know it.
not. No, not at all. It's fine. You don't have
Well,
anything to worry
when we're done, I'm gonna give you guys some advice about the VA.
Okay.
I've been dealing with VA for a very long time, and I've become successful with them.
Ah,
Okay,
crack the code.
so I did, and it was through a group that I joined, a veterans group.
Mm-hmm.
And the key is to be persistent,
I've heard that.
okay?
Yeah.
But there's a thing called nexus.
Nexus.
Nexus, yes. So, as an example,
Mhm.
you hurt your ankle,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
okay? Documented, no problem. You start having knee problems because you have to walk a little different. Now you start having hip problems.
Oh, I see where you're going.
You can be
Okay.
declared on your hip and on your knee, because that's a connection. For example, I had high blood pressure, I started about 5 years into my career. And I was on high blood pressure medicine the whole time, okay, until I retired. 5 years ago, I developed a heart problem.
Mm.
They were able to connect that
Oh,
to my heart problem.
no
100%.
kidding.
Yeah.
So yeah, just persistence and
Persistence.
yeah, they got YouTube channels. One of my colleagues told me, man, he still has. I think he's only at 14 years, but he has a little bit. He knew so much about this thing.
Yeah.
I'm calling that dude when
Yeah,
I need to
absolutely.
go.
I hired a law firm.
Yeah.
And actually, I got a really good deal out of that.
Really?
Okay. With my back pay, because as you retire, you don't get any more money until you're 51% or greater.
Mm.
Okay. All they do is detax your retirement pay.
Oh, okay.
That's what they do. They detax it. Okay. So you don't get any more money.
Yeah.
Okay, or benefits. At 51%, now you start getting a separate check from the VA and everything. Okay, and then you get full VA benefits using their medical facilities and stuff like that, you know. But the term that my group uses is bitch, moan, and complain. You gotta
That's about
You
it.
gotta keep doing that.
Be the squeaky wheel.
Be the squeaky wheel. Constantly complain. This hurts. The second thing is when you walk into that C&P exam, compensation and pension exam, you're probably going to see a nurse practitioner. You're not gonna see a doctor, okay? That nurse practitioner is taught to look this way, okay, for the VA. So that day is your worst day of your life when you walk in there. Doesn't matter how you feel, because they say, hey, how you feeling today? Well, I'm not feeling too bad. They write that down. Patient says it's feeling good today, you know? If you have an issue with like walking or your back problems, that, you know, you have to get out of the vehicle slow, they video, or they have cameras in the parking lot.
Do they?
I didn't believe that. I said, what?
Interesting.
No, they don't do that. When I walked in on one of my C&P exams for my back, the nurse practitioner bumped her monitor, and it
tattled on herself.
It did. It had a camera of the parking lot and of the sitting room. It did. So they can
Interesting.
see you if you jump out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then go, oh.
When you're in there.
Yeah. Well, evidence shows that no, they won't. They won't reveal that to you, you know, because they've got this blinders on. But you know, it's like nowadays it's good because the records are digitized.
Gotcha.
Back in my day, it was all handwritten, and you can't read half of it and things like that. Like when I was in Honduras, we were loading a Connex van onto a 5-ton truck. Crane operator, I'm looking this way, and the crane operator swings it and knocks me off the truck. Right? Oh, and I injured my back. Well, down there in Honduras, there was only medics down there. There was no doctors or nurses or anything like that. So they just said, take Motrin, go away, go away, go away, go away. So I just continually take Motrin and stuff like that, you know. Well, now I've got degenerative back disease. I get 60% for that. So, yeah.
And then all those connected, the nexus.
All those connected, the nexus connections. This connects to that, this connects to that.
Do you have to like prove the connection?
Well,
Or
like
is it just-
with my blood pressure, okay, that's well documented.
Ah.
And the heart condition, well documented. I mean, I got a pacemaker, for heaven's sakes, you know. So that's well documented on all of that process. I still use TRICARE. And and I'm starting to use the VA because they opened a VA clinic in Fredericksburg. Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
The largest in the United States. They opened.
Fredericksburg, okay.
It's gorgeous. And the doctors and the nurses, they're fabulous. They really are.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a snack too, actually.
This is Yusufat with the OSA,
Yeah?
with their aircraft, so it's no denying.
Yeah. But it's interesting, so I'm trying to figure out who authorized, so during Atkins, he told us to take off our OSA patch and put on the MDW patch.
Right.
But
Who said
OSA
that?
used to be under MDW, I'm trying to justify, we should have never stopped wearing our OSA patch.
I agree.
And so I'm trying to figure out who can I,
Can you call Atkins? You said you know him, right?
I do, but I mean, it's more of convincing Colonel DeForest that,
Right.
and, you know, showing the lineage and the heraldry, like, what, you know, why are we, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we should have ever went away from wearing the OSA patch, but that was a decision under Atkins.
Right.
And so I wanna make an argument that we're gonna go back to it.
I think you should.
I mean, historically, it's there, proof, or the original organization started with that. You
Right.
know, why did we change? Cause
Even the 12th, right? With the 12th, I think when they unfurled, they became
they became the
MPW.
MDW patch, right?
Right.
But then they wear the breast patches
Mhm.
and stuff, and then for a long time they made them take them off. Now they're back to it,
Really?
you know. So it's kind of one of those come see come saws on that, but yeah. I never understood why, because technically.
What would he call this patch? Because again, it was under MPW.
Right.
When did this patch, that's what I'm trying to figure out, when did this patch become the symbol or the,
We have this out here.
I have no idea.
you know, and like every unit that essentially, like, when did that become the official patch for Davidson Army Airfield Command? Or
Right.
whatever we were at that time when this,
Right.
that's what I wanna figure out.
Right. Cause I can't, in the uniforms that I've seen of the former commanders and stuff,
Mhm.
all of them are wearing the MDW patch from 55 forward. Whenever they became away from the Corps of Engineers. So the commanders, you don't have, you know, many, there are soldiers patches out there, but all the ones that I've seen, all of them have the MDW patch on. The only folks that I've ever seen is the guard folks that had that patch.
But see, that's not, USAPAT wasn't guard, this is when they were
Right.
active duty.
Right.
And they're all wearing the,
The USPAT or the patch, right?
yeah, they're all of them have, like, you can see this person holding the guide on, which is also, come on. Don't want to share. Come on in. But see,
Yeah, the flag.
the
everything.
flag, the patch,
Mhm.
right? And so I think in 95, when OSA left and became the National Guard, we took the patch with us. And
Right,
I think that is when potentially the assets that stayed attached to MDW started, continued or switched to MDW.
right,
So that's an assumption, I don't know.
right.
So that, I'm not sure if someone made this, but this is the original.
This is the DUI.
Yeah, the DUI, but it's still the
Right.
center is still the same, that's how patch.
March of 92. For the DUI, and then 94, redesignated. Oh, this is for the Army National Guard, redesignated, but no, they was,
It says was originally approved for the year on 2 June 1992. Says it right there.
92 is a pivotal year of all the
Everything.
different, that they had the plan to restructure the organization completely.
yeah,
So redesign 1794 for the Army National Guard was originally approved for USACOM, I guess at that time, US OSACOM.
OSAC is what they called it.
Yeah.
Operational Support Airlift Command, OSAC.
Yes, and on 2 June.
So when they developed OSAC, and that's when USAPAT and probably all the flight centers were using this.
Right.
Then it went with
But
us,
this is when we became OSACOM though.
No,
Under
we
the
came-
National Guard.
no, in 94, that's what we're celebrating now. When we went to the National Guard, in 95 actually. They started working it ahead of time, but on 2/95 is when we moved over.
The official, yeah.
What date I just gave you sometime? Was it 95?
Say again?
I think it was, okay, yeah, 95, that's right.
Yeah, 2 October 95 is when 12th became
Yeah.
unfurling,
No,
and we
I got
became
it
to the
now. I
National
just got
Guard.
my dates mixed up.
Yeah,
Yeah, got it.
So this is USAPAT, and, their first flight, with the John Marsh Secretary of the Army, and that's them there. Can't see the patches at that point. And that's what is designated as the history of USAPAT there, although it's, you know, unreadable at this point. We'll give you, you know, we'll make sure we get a copy of these slides to you guys
Mhm.
and everything in some fashion or another. And if I have to print them out, easy peasy, you know, I'll just go to Staples and do
Here.
it. My printer won't do it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want the printer to do.
And then, of course, that's what's in with the, MDW patch. Those are the one pictures. So we go back in time, this is the Kentucky and the, Retriever aircraft that was used. And this is, we actually managed the Pentagon heliport back then, even so, okay? Although the Pentagon heliport was just grass landing at that time, we did that then. there actually is a fixed-wing aircraft that had landed at the Pentagon. That's the picture right there. The picture on the far bottom right is the 9/11 site, okay? This is funny, okay? The Deuce Swamp Monster. I have the actual MP reports of two of them, the old Route 1 gate here that's closed, okay? That somebody saw a Bigfoot.
I like it.
And they referred to it as the Deuce Swamp Monster.
That's hilarious.
That's a made-up picture, of course. But I actually have the MP reports on it. I couldn't believe it. I just said, you guys gotta be kidding me. Yep, sure enough, it's an official report.
That's a joke, man, in your seats.
Yep. And don't forget the Deuce Swamp
Yeah.
Monster. Yeah. Of course, the type of helicopter. Now, in 1982, Air Florida 90 crashed into the 14th Street Bridge coming out of Reagan International Airport.
And we studied that crash actually. They failed to put on their anti-icing.
Right. Davidson Army Airfield was tasked to conduct rescue operations there as well.
Like recovery operations?
Recovery operations. Yeah. So that little device on the bottom of this helicopter, I have discovered, because this is, it says Military District Washington right there. This was some type of sensing radar device that they were searching for debris and bodies.
Wow.
They were very low to the river's edge. You can see, you know, the buildings here and see how low they were.
Do you know if the air assets were DC guard as well, or was this purely?
Well, this was in '82, so that would be the complete organization,
Okay.
okay? And of course, executive flight detachment. I mean, I can get into that, but it's irrelevant as to what you guys are talking about. That's Marilyn Monroe and Davidson Army Airfield.
Really? Where do I get that copy of
I
that?
can
photo?
get you a copy of that. no
That's
problem.
awesome.
Yep. That is.
Do you know what year or what event she was doing?
62 is when that happened, in 1962, before his death. They were still doing the, you know, hello, Mr. President.
Was this part of the abuse of the aircraft?
This was this was one of the executive flight detachment aircraft. Before they went to the Sea Kings, they had the older version of the aircraft. So yeah, let's show her the aircraft. And she came onto the airfield. Yeah.
Well, they were all on alert because she was most likely on a Sequoia, so I've heard.
Yeah.
So, let's move into the troops, because, you know, the Sequoia's in the Potomac, and you're gonna be on there with you-know-who.
But they were trying to disguise her, you could tell, from the
Yeah,
outfit.
cause
that
you
she's
can't
wearing.
really.
So
She's
if
in
you
a
look at the
black
hair, if you look at the hairdo, you know, here, but that, I don't have a facial picture of her, but I've got that picture.
We believe it.
And of course, President Johnson Lee. Now, you know, this is an interesting little piece of this with the executive flight detachment, is why did the Army stop flying the president? Well, there were 3 incidences that happened. One of them was downsizing. Vietnam was coming to a close. Okay. All right, money. 2, in 1973, President Nixon liked to vacation in the Bahamas. So they would fly him via helicopter. The president wasn't on board, but one of the helicopters crashed. Okay, killed a Secret Service agent, so they lost that asset as well. Pilot survived. Then Robert K. Preston occurs. Okay, Robert K. Preston was at Tipton Army Airfield, part of the detachment down there of the Presidential Flight Detachment, and he was a mechanic. Okay, all right. he wanted to go to flight school. Okay, so they said, well, okay, you're a very bright young man, we're gonna give you a chance. So they sent him to flight school, but he couldn't pass the instruments. Okay, but he actually could fly. Okay, so he comes back, they said, no harm, no foul, go back to your mechanic's job, move on. Well, that stuck in his craw, he couldn't handle that. So one evening, he goes over on Tipton, onto the airfield, and gets a helicopter. And he flies it to the White House.
Oh my word.
Oh, he's the one who stole a helicopter,
Yes,
drunk,
yes.
and landed on the White House lawn.
And landed on the White House lawn. And then lifts off and does a little bit of dogfighting with the Maryland State Police and then puts it back down on
Yeah.
the White House lawn. If you notice, there's bullet holes right here.
Oh my gosh.
He survived, it didn't hit him and everything. And the Secretary of Defense says, Army, you've lost control.
Oh, man, I bet they did.
And with downsizing and the loss of the aircraft within the last year, I've got documents that they fought it, okay? But as a result of what this young man did, not only did they lose the Executive Flight Detachment mission, but they put keys in helicopters.
I knew that. I knew that was a result of that incident.
Yeah.
But I had no idea the association of the individual.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go. It's a wild story, you know?
That is.
But it was even more wild. I think if you read about what they charged him with, it was like next to nothing.
Really?
Like in terms of.
Was he mentally ill?
No,
Like what did they?
I don't think so. If we look it up,
conduct unbecoming,
That's it.
Wow.
he got barely like a slap in the. I mean, it was nothing.
yeah. Because it was such a public thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm.
It was such a public thing.
They want her.
So they wanted to
get done.
put that under the rug, get it done, you know, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So, but yeah, Robert, he's passed away since then, but he became a shoe salesman.
Oh, I was gonna say.
He became a shoe salesman.
Imagine that story though.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, I stole an Army helicopter and landed at the White House.
I'm just glad no one has tried to duplicate it.
Well, actually, there was a guy with a light aircraft that
They're trying to do it.
didn't land at the White House, but flew from Maryland into DC space.
Mm-hmm.
And
Post 9/11?
yeah.
They shot it down.
No, they didn't shoot him down.
They just told me to
They
get out of
just,
there.
they
Escorted him?
escorted him out
Nightly.
and everything.
I was gonna say, yeah, a fast mover probably.
Nicely nudged.
That's why we have that Patriot missile battery just on the other side of the fence,
Right.
you know?
Nicely nudging.
Yep.
That's part of the Falcon Virgo
Yeah.
exercise.
That, you know, when I show that to people, because it's on Google Earth, you can look at Google Earth and see the launcher.
What's that on there?
Shouldn't be, but you can see it.
Wow.
It's on, the launcher is on there.
Somebody was on there and have that removed.
Well, that would, yeah, absolutely, blurred
Yeah.
in some fashion. But, you know, President Bush, the first President Bush is the one that took down all the protective sites around the DC when he was president, first President Bush. Because Cold War is over.
Oh,
We don't have a threat anymore. It's a cost-effective measure,
Mm.
you know? And then 9/11 happens and they put it all
Put it
back on.
back.
Golden Dome.
Yep. It's like Raven Rock was mothballed,
Mm.
you know? And after 9/11, millions and billions of dollars stuck into that and reinvigorated and even more, you know?
So DC Guard during 9/11 was one of the first assets to respond and be on site. Their medevac, their Huey. There's a pretty historic photo of a date, I think his name was Mr. Munich, who was flying that aircraft. And they were at the time discussion of getting rid of the unit. And they was able to justify their existence to keep the DC aviation here because
Right.
of their response to the 9/11.
Great, yeah, awesome. On 9/11, of course, a lot of people don't realize that that's the air traffic control tower right there, and the fire station.
Oh wow.
that was literally right there. There's the air traffic control tower right there. And there's the impact area, there's the tower, right there. This is probably a picture of the asset that you were talking about, right here.
Yep.
They were there, right? This picture and this picture was unpublished pictures. I actually got them from the individual who took these pictures. So they're unpublished pictures. Yeah.
So why did they have the tower? Cause you ATC, why's the tower so low?
Because there was a heliport. They didn't
Oh,
need
yeah,
it.
that's right.
It was just a heliport.
Yeah, you don't need to see.
You don't need to
They
see
just
it.
redid the tower, I think, though. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it had been, that tower was a prefab building. It was a combination fire station underneath and air traffic control tower on
On
top.
top,
On
okay.
top, okay?
Interesting.
I'm blacking out on his name. A gentleman that died of
Sean
cancer.
Boger
Sean Boger was there
in the tower.
in the tower that day.
Got a picture,
Yes.
yes he was. And, the, guy that manages building management for you in the S4, his wife was in there as well.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yes, her, Jackie Kidd, and that's Sean.
Look
Boger.
at Mr. Bogle.
Yep.
Where's his son?
That's them in the tower right there. And I've got her phone number, I've talked to her a few times, you know. Montague, Mr. Montague.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his wife.
Is it? Okay.
Yep, that's his wife.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
But yeah, Sean was in the tower.
Yep, that day they saw it. In fact, Sean told me a piece of debris had come off either the building of the aircraft and flew by him and landed in the wall, behind him. And I went up into that tower after that, before they demoed it,
Right.
and I saw this big
You
hole.
saw it and you
in
could've definitely hit
You
him.
could've hit him and killed him right then and there. you know. She was actually downstairs in the restroom, you know?
I was wondering what's going on.
Yeah, what is
Well,
all
I'm
this?
sure you felt it.
Oh.
That explosion, the sonic boom that had to transition with the explosion of that much jet fuel.
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Jeez. Yeah, I've never seen it like that. I've been up there to the memorial, but I've never seen it
Yeah.
like this.
I've got a picture elsewhere that shows right here, okay, a fire truck was out being washed that morning. And if the fire truck hadn't been there, the blast, cause the fire truck is totally decimated.
Is that what that is on this photo, the fire truck right here? In this
Uh,
one? Is that a fire truck?
Oh, the right, top
Yeah.
right.
top right,
Yes.
yes.
Oh my.
If that fire truck hadn't been there, it'd have blown that building over, cause it was a prefab building, it wasn't a full structured building. And that was the fire truck bay right there.
well, because it was just taken off of DCA, we always go and do the tour at the Pentagon, they talk about the geographic location to DCA, because it's jet fuel, it won't go out with water. You
Yeah.
have to use a specific
the
foam
foam.
to press it. And so, there was multiple factors that prevented, it being a worse, casualty number than in some of it was, they were doing an exercise, a lot of people weren't in their cubicles on this side during the day, and then it would, it would have.
Several angels were on duty that
Yes,
day.
but like the close proximity to DCA and for them to be able to get their, their crash and fire rescue there,
Right.
like, there were so many things in place, like, it could have been so much worse than it was.
Right.
But, yeah, that's,
And so the new tower, cause after this, we put a temporary tower on the other side of the building. That's when I came on board, is when we started doing that, put the temporary tower on the opposite side of the building. And then we brought in, the mobile tower, we actually went down to Fort Rucker and, talked them into giving us what's called a T1 tower. And we brought that up and, put it on a stand, and
That's what.
still there today. Well, it's not there right now,
Okay.
but,
Well, before the new.
before the new tower, it's supposed to open, I think, in February, is when they're supposed to open it. But, there were temporary tower for over 20 years up there.
Look at that building.
There you go, there you go.
Our temporary stuff is actually pretty good.
Yeah, there's the fire truck right there,
Holy cow.
you know, just totally totally decimate. You can see it's broken back.
Wait, is that at the 9/11? Oh no, there was a fire truck at the museum. It's probably not that one though.
Oh, okay. You've seen that radar that sits in the museum over across the way here?
Oh, not that one. I was talking about the 9/11
Oh,
museum,
9/11
but
museum? Oh, okay. You need to go over to this museum.
What Army?
that's on my list.
Do you have any connections there?
Absolutely.
So we were trying to figure out did you inquire? Who actually inquired over there?
Sergeant Flores.
Okay. We were trying to figure out in our like birthday, if they would entertain and or, like I've been there and I've seen them do, what do you call it, like mini, like they rotate, where they'll have like, they'll feature, something, I was like, yes, like an exhibit or some kind of like dedication for our birthday. And I guess there was no appetite there for them to like
Yeah,
consider us.
they're big picture here.
Yeah.
That's what they really are.
It's a national, so I'm wondering if it's
Yeah.
not the Smithsonian, but like one of those bigger.
Yeah, they're in the big picture realm.
Yeah.
Now, their main offices actually are not in that building, they're over on Fort Belvoir, on the backside.
Oh, I saw the sign, there's a
Yeah.
sign that says something about, I think, historical museum or
Yes.
something over there. I
I
saw
was
that
wondering
on
about that too.
Yeah, that's where,
Okay.
I would
Go
talk
there.
to those guys, to see if they would be willing to do anything, but such a short period of time,
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys over here, they're a little,
Mhm.
But the radar that's in that museum actually come off of this airfield.
Really?
I helped set that up, yeah. The 1950s style radar used to go round and round, and stuff like that, we don't do that anymore, but yeah, this is some unpublished photos. And then, of course, we get into the engineers and all their history and stuff like that, so. Really. Some of the aircraft that's been on the airfield here, of course. Mohawk. I don't know who owned that aircraft. Obviously, the airfield did not.
Why does it look like an Air Force?
And-
I know, it looked
Oh,
straight.
that's Mr. McCollum right
That's
there.
Mr. McCullum and Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
Oh, no kidding?
Yes, that's Jack Nicholson. That's his aircraft, his special
Oh,
permission.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it's the big aircraft.
Yeah. All the special permission, because he supports the Wounded Warrior program significantly. Okay, he actually designed a golf course for the Wounded Warrior program. Yeah. And just more few pictures. Yeah, those poor things, seriously.
You share my
I
sentiments,
flew those
sir.
out of here.
Did you?
Yeah, with DC.
Oh, jeez.
I have I did a photo shoot right outside of the DC Guard hangar with that aircraft, with the DC Guard logo on the side.
That was, well, the 12th had those too at one point.
Did they?
That was
It
Colonel
did?
Ludowise's idea. I don't know if you remember her. The only female that's ever been the brigade commander, or she was a group commander. Yeah, I had served with her at Fort Hood, Texas, 100 years ago. But when she came on board, I went, oh my gosh, those kind of things. And it was her idea to do that, and it took a nice tank. Yeah, it didn't work out very
So is that why they didn't put any more females in charge?
So she was what, AAOG?
Yes.
Okay.
She was the second commander of the AOG.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a lot
And of
of
course,
females.
the
The show.
Sherpa. That was one and done mission here, to where the 12th took all the aircraft that they had available and did a mass fly up. Okay. The thing that they failed to do was tell anybody that they
Oh,
did that.
man.
Okay. Scared the daylights out of a lot of people.
They thought aircraft were being stolen?
No, they probably thought
Probably
there was war,
bad
like
thing.
a massive launch of
Yes.
Army aircraft.
Oh, civilians around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The optics of like, are we
Yes.
under, kind of like a Pearl Harbor situation.
Yeah.
But that's a good movie, like.
That is that is cool.
Yeah, it scared the daylights out of people when they did that.
I guess so.
And so with the Defense Logistics Agency across the street here, they used to, I don't know if they do it anymore, they, a lot of times take them up to Aberdeen, but experimental aircraft, they'll bring them here.
Interesting.
And I don't know if you remember the TV show Airwolf, okay? No, you're too young, you guys are too young for that, okay? It was a show about a specialized high-speed helicopter, okay? Well, this aircraft here was brought in as a demonstration to see if the military wanted to buy it. And they actually flew it up to the Pentagon as well. Of course, the Army didn't buy that, of course. This is a DOAC, okay? And this was on the airfield here. This was in the 1960s, early 1960s, that they demonstrated. It was in competition with the Huey.
Is that a tilt rotor, or is that just the way
It
that
is
they're?
a tilt rotor. They're now starting to
Hilarious.
experiment with that. That design has been around for
I have no idea.
50 some odd years, you know, but they didn't.
Wasn't time.
Wasn't timed. So this is kind of timelines that we've got. And I went to 2015 and beyond.
See, there you have AAOG to tab 2015.
Right, that they were then to tab it in 15, yeah.
Yeah, but the last, when I was questioning it, had 16 on the other
Oh,
side.
did it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Cause I knew we became OSA agency under tab in 15.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the staff in 16. Unfortunately, McCullum, Mr. McCullum. So where are we going with the future? Actually, that's not
I
that
hate
far
that.
fetched.
Yeah, I don't
That's
like
not
it.
that far fetched. You've seen the
Yeah,
new,
no, it's not. That's a sad.
you've seen the new Hueys that they're supposed to come out with? It's got a tilt rotor on it.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
They
they're
have-
experimenting.
Marines have been having so many issues with their tilt
So
rotors.
here, I always use this. This is a funny thing. Just like it is fly. And my computer sometimes doesn't like this video. It is what we're going to go to with the airfield in the future.
Ah,
This is a future prediction of what happens on Davidson Army Airfield. Let's try to get it to work.
Let's see that. So I gave you the dates.
So,
That's funny.
Yeah,
we're going to the
that is-
future.
Yeah, that is crazy. Let's not do that.
So this is the next one. They just sent out looking for pilots to take a 3-year tour to be,
Oh, Fort Rucker.
yeah, to Fort Rucker. MV-75 is the Flora aircraft that there is in production and testing right now.
Have they decided the name yet? I thought it was Shoshone, but then the heraldry, what they named it.
The Valor.
It is Val.
The
They're not doing
Valor.
chief, an Indian name?
The
They went
U.S.
away from
Army has
that?
officially designated the MV-75 as the mission design series for the Flora Future Long Range Assault Aircraft, a key modernization effort aimed at fielding the next generation of vertical lift, tactical assault, and utility aircraft for the Army Special Operations Command.
And I think they went with 75. Remember at Parlay they said because the Army birthday, 1775, or yeah, that's why they went with 75.
A common legacy name for the aircraft like Black Hawk, Chinook, Apache is currently under consideration. But right now, the initial prototype will carry designation YNV-75A.
Do they actually have a prototype now?
They're looking for people to come to Rucker right
You
now
wanna go back to Rucker?
No.
No?
for 3 years.
You can do the ops for
I
me.
am good.
Pass.
Yeah.
So this is the information that I have on the Walsh hangar here. This was a invite here to, the ceremony.
To the naming of it? The
Yes,
naming of the Welsh hanger?
yes, the naming of the Walsh hand.
Can you blow it up a little bit? My eyes are not as good as they used to be. I think it's the right bottom. There should be like arrow up, like a plus to make it bigger. No.
Or push control and scroll up,
Okay, control.
and then with your mouse, scroll.
You have a mouse there?
Oh, that's.
Fingers on there. No,
Try this button right here.
okay, the plus.
Look at this.
Yeah.
There we go.
Or,
Here we go.
Nature.
For the RFC. He's around, right? Did the invite go out?
Sure.
I haven't seen
I
it.
haven't checked my email.
I haven't seen it.
She did
You
it,
talked with her?
Yeah.
Okay,
she has done it since we've been in here.
okay. I've been moving around all morning. Since we're on a break real quick, Mr. Hart has stopped by when you were on the
Nick?
phone. Yes. He had stopped by and then when I told him we had a meeting after that,